Owen is back, and his first reaction is to kiss Sarin. He pulls back and demands to know if she has something to say to him. Sarin is a bit confused as she doesn't know what he wants to hear. She says she is glad he is safe, but it sounds more like a question. Owen isn't too pleased as he didn't expect her to say it like that. She tells him she has met her nephew and thanks him for giving her that chance. Owen suddenly stares at her intently and demands to know why she jumped into the river back then. Sarin is a bit hesitant, but still says it was because she was the only one among the people there at the moment that could swim. Before she finishes talking, Owen roughly grabs her dress and pulls her closer. He really wants to know why she saved him. Sarin is so nervous she begins to sweat. She really didn't know what was going through her mind at the time, but she felt he was defenseless and about to die, just like a kid. Her mother did that to her. Her reply to Owen is that she wanted to do it. Owen repeats her answer and she confirms it. He lets her go but keeps staring at her, making her wonder if that was the wrong answer. Just when she thought it was over, he pulls her even closer and even squishes her face. He repeats the words she told him before about taking responsibility and paying the price for your actions. It doesn't matter who you are. Sarin stares at him wide-eyed as she remembers that was something she told him before. She agrees with what he said. However, within her, she wonders why he is so mad. Is it because she dragged him out of the water by his neck? He suddenly let her go, telling her he liked her answer. Sarin is relieved. He informs her the person she wanted to save the last time ended up dead, leaving her shocked. He wants to hear her opinion, after all. He almost died because of her kind heart that wanted to save the man. She calmly says that her kind heart is the reason she saved him too. She wants him to think about what would have happened if she wasn't like that. He suddenly smiles and calls her name. He holds her intimately and asks how he can make it right to her. She just says he deserves to live a good life. Hearing that answer stuns Owen. He says she is surprising and starts touching her. She tries to stop him, but he uses her words against her. She wants him to live a good life, or does she want him to live a good life without her? She feels he has already done enough by taking care of Hayan and giving her a good salary. He lets her go, inquiring if she will stay here just because of that. He calls her a lost dog. She denies it. She won't be waiting for him. He starts to be intimate again, but she stops him. She wants him to know it is not because of the money he gave her. He isn't listening and keeps touching her. He takes off his clothes and she is shocked to see his bruised body. He must have gotten injured during that accident, and yet he didn't seek treatment after that. Because of her worry, she tries to touch him, but he stops her. She apologizes and explains she was just worried he was hurt. Her words touch Owen so much, he tells her she has a way of driving him crazy. He wants to know how she is going to take responsibility for it now. Owen tells Sarin she has to take responsibility. She tries to play it off as her just being worried about his injuries. He continues his intimate actions as he asks if she is really worried. She is concerned he got those injuries because of her. He tells her it is fine as long as she realizes it. Staring up at him, she is amazed by the look on his face. Soon, things get really heated between them. When they are done, he suggests they go eat something together. The couple are at the dining table. Owen is busy feeding his dogs while Sarin watches him closely. He notices and urges her to eat. She accepts and goes to cut her meat, but even after using all her strength, the meat remains intact. She complains inwardly, wondering why the meat is so tough. Owen can't watch her struggling any longer and grabs the plate from her hands. He goes on to slice a piece off for her and feeds it to her. She takes a bite, and immediately her eyes turn into little stars. The food is so delicious it almost makes Sarin turn into the sun because of how sparkly she gets. Owen can't stop staring at her cute behavior, and it keeps making him smile. It is such a warm moment. Sarin is done eating and sighs about how good the food was. She is oblivious to the piece of meat hanging off her face. She feels a bit guilty because Owen was so busy feeding her, he forgot to eat himself. He questions her if she really enjoyed the food, and she says she did. He motions her to come closer, and when she does, wipes off the stain from her lip. He teases her, saying he is sure she did. He then licks the piece he just wiped off. His actions make Sarin remember the intimate moments they shared on that table moments ago. She blushes and warns him to stop doing that. He pretends to be ignorant and complains about how he could not eat because he was busy feeding someone else. She can't argue that. Owen hears footsteps and informs her another cut piece has arrived. His aide places something wrapped in tissues on the table and Owen hands it over to Sarin. She is curious and opens it. But what she sees inside disgusts her so much she starts retching. Owen says she doesn't have to be so shocked as he told her before. He got back at the man who tried to kill him. Nikolai was also furious when he learned about it, and Pavle couldn't even do anything since he was involved in the whole plan against Owen. Owen, however, feels it is a shame everything just ended with one of his brother's fingers. His principle is blood for blood. Sarin is still shaken and wants to settle some other things first. She vows to pay back what she owes him little by little. She recalls his words about every action coming with a price. He never told her anything. Feeling upset, she excuses herself, but he calls her back. He says she should be going in the other direction. She declines and suggests they use separate bedrooms like before. He isn't having that. He stands up and opens the door to his bedroom, demanding to know if he is just a tool she can use. She denies it, but inside she feels she can understand why he thinks like that. With no choice, she heads into his bedroom, hoping he wouldn't let her go because it is so casual. Once she is through the door, he grabs her. He calmly states she has eaten, so now he wants to fill her up again. Owen asks why she isn't dressed appropriately, and she says it is because she was planning on taking a shower. He wants to get intimate again, but she tries to stop him. She wants to shower first, but he prefers her natural scent more. He doesn't know why, but she just seems more alluring today. The two talk intimately for a while. Sarin doesn't know why, but Owen's feelings seem to be out of place today, just like back then. That was the first time she had seen him like that. His reaction with the finger makes her wonder if it was because it was that person. She was really worried when she couldn't see him after the accident, and even when she did, he went off to handle some business. She wondered in what sense he went to take care of things, but was still glad to see him unharmed. However, that feeling didn't last, because seeing his body riddled with injuries hurt her heart deeply. Just like Angelica feared. Little by little, Sarin is already falling into Owen's trap. She tries to comfort herself by thinking it must just be her imagination. Owen interrupts her thoughts and says they should get down to it. She tries to protest, but he doesn't listen to her. We get a glimpse of Owen's thoughts. At the time when he was drowning in those deep waters, the only thing filling his mind were those memories. Even when his brother had to pay for his actions with his finger, and his brother's subordinate who planned the incident had to die, the only person on his mind during those moments was Sarin. He couldn't get her out of his head. The two start getting intimate again. Owen wants to know if there is anything she would like him to do for her. She can't talk, but he keeps asking. He wants to serve her well. Sarin tells him to go slowly. He says he's already going slowly, so why is she crying? He kisses her tears away tenderly. He begs her to smile as she looks prettier that way. He continues his actions and tells her not to forget his true nature. She apologizes. She feels like he is a devil. Just like what she wrote in her diary, he makes her feel like she is getting drunk. No, this feels 100 times better than drinking. By now, Owen has realized she has become addicted to this. When they get intimate, her desire for alcohol no longer acts up. The void left by alcohol has now been filled with him. The two are finally done. Owen holds her close and tells her to think about what she wants. She feels a little bad, because she isn't giving him everything she has. Besides, they just finished getting intimate, so how is she supposed to think? Seeing her asleep, he whispers into her ears. She should always remember this. He is willing to give everything for her. In a dark mansion, Pavle angrily stares at his missing finger and curses. He recalls the events that happened a few hours ago. He was hanging out with a woman when he received an unexpected visitor. It was Nikolai, and he wondered what brought his grandfather here. Suddenly, he was seized by his grandfather's subordinate, and his finger was cut off. His grandfather doesn't show any pity and even mocks him. He drops Owen's name, saying he couldn't do it himself, so he had to help him. At least this way, Pavle can keep his reputation. Back to present, Pavle is thinking about Owen. Nikolai has always valued healthy, heir-worthy offspring. Because of that, he always favored his grandson Pavle to the point where he was even considered Nikolai's heir some time ago. But that was until Owen appeared. To Pavle, Owen was just a brat who grew up in the garbage dumpster and wasn't even educated. All he did was stare at people like he wanted to bury them underground. Yet, once that same Owen came into adulthood and was officially recognized by Nikolai, he grew up to become the perfect candidate in less than a year. With that, all of Nikolai's attention was turned to him. However, Pavle believes Owen's growth is shallow. If Owen had stepped up and punished him himself, things wouldn't have gone this far. Pavle is not reconciled, however. He wouldn't let things go like this. After all, Owen is not the only one that can work on the principle of blood for blood. Thinking about Hayan and Sarin, he grins evilly. Things have just gotten a lot more interesting. Sarin wakes up with a start. She just had a nightmare. Opening her eyes, she sees she is held tightly in Owen's arms. She concludes that this must be the reason why she felt paralyzed in her dream. She can't help but revel in this first-time experience of sleeping next to someone and enjoying their body heat. This realization shocks her and she gets out of bed. She can't go on like this and has to get a grip on herself. She feels her leg shake and glares at Owen, calling him a rascal. She hurries out of the room to shower and dress before he wakes up. It's a bit cold this morning, so she will shower with some warm water. Staring at the mirror, there aren't as many bruises as she expected. She can't stop thinking about Owen and has to shake her head to get those thoughts out of her head. The man she is thinking about appears behind her, demanding to know what she is doing here all alone. She is so frightened she falls over. Glaring at his laughing face, she wishes she could scold him. Now her bottom hurts. He lifts her up from the floor and stares at her, making her flustered. She explains he startled her. He smiles as he remembers her calling him a rascal when she woke up. He says they should wash up, but she refuses and attempts to run to her room to shower. He tells her to always remember and suddenly grabs her. She is supposed to always be by his side. Owen wasn't joking when he said Sarin has to stay by his side always. He even stays with her while she bathes and watches her from outside. Sure enough, he cannot resist, and the two share an intimate moment. After their passionate moment, Sarin is in her room. She doesn't know why, but something has changed about Owen's behavior. He seems to be more persistent now. She thinks he might want something from her. She falls asleep while thinking of this. When she wakes up, she sees Owen staring at her. He wants her to stay for dinner. He keeps staring at her body, and Sarin starts to regret. She woke up at the wrong time. She tells Owen she wants to go see her brother. Owen gets upset and says she can only meet him when the time is right. He immediately leaves as if avoiding something. Left alone, Sarin begins to think about how crazy her life has been lately. First, she met Owen at such a bad time, then she discovered his brother, Pavle, is Hayan's father. She isn't happy with this knowledge, though. She would have preferred it if his father was Owen. She thinks Pavle is too crazy. But that isn't the only thing in her life that has changed. She always thought her relationship with Owen was just a physical one. Now she is beginning to doubt it. Ever since the incident, their relationship seems to have changed. It is now more confusing for her as she can't tell what exactly is going through Owen's head. When Sarin wakes up, her lover is nowhere to be found. She goes looking for him, but all she sees are a group of maids. They inform her the room has been cleaned. Sarin can't help but recall the intimate actions that made the room dirty in the first place, and she blushes. Now she is wondering just how dirty it was. The maids are preparing breakfast, and while she is waiting for them, something attacks her from behind. She is scared, but when she turns around, she sees it is just Owen's dogs. She is happy to see them. Hours have passed, and our female lead is so bored, she is now playing with the dogs. The only thing she has done today was to be fed. Immediately after breakfast, the maids bring out some desserts. They are even from her favorite bakery. She is convinced now that Owen has to be spying on her. That isn't the only shock. She is still playing with the dogs when the maids announce that people from Orbis are here. What is Orbis? Well, nothing more than the biggest clothing store. Sarin didn't order anything, so she is confused. After the maids explain, she knows it is from Owen. He even ordered them to put the clothes in his room. Sarin wonders if Owen really wants her to stay with him. There is a special present delivered to her room. The maid recites a sentence from Owen and says she will understand. She doesn't, and so opens the box. What she sees is a white fur coat. She remembers Owen asking her what present she would like. Since she didn't choose, he chose one for her. The maids announce the dressing room has been cleaned. Sarin goes with them to check it out and is immediately shocked. The whole place is full of clothes and shoes. They are all so flashy. The maids go away, leaving Sarin to be amazed by these dresses and wondering how much they cost. She looks back, and even the dogs are staring at the clothes in awe. Their eyes are even shiny. I don't blame them. Sarin is sure they aren't allowed to come in. Since she can't see the owner himself, she starts talking to his dogs. She tells them their boss must have a lot of money. She even describes her time back in Korea to them. She could never sleep properly because she was always thinking of the money she needed to survive. She once thought everything could be solved if she just had more money. But it seems ironic now. She has made a lot of money since then and has a lot of expensive stuff available to her. But no matter how much she has in front of her, she never feels satisfied. She wonders if her lover feels the same way. She suddenly spots an open drawer. Thinking that the maids forgot to close it, she wants to help them. However, what she sees inside shocks her. There is a gun lying inside the drawer, and under it is her passport. Sarin is tempted to just grab it and leave, but she is wise enough to know there is nowhere she can go. She is satisfied with just knowing where it is for now. She turns around to threaten the 3 witnesses to her discovery. The poor dogs have no idea why they are being sworn to secrecy. She seems to have forgotten the fur coat, though. Sarin has successfully frightened the dogs and is now trying to bribe them with some playtime. She is about to take them on a walk when someone stops her. It is Yuri. The man is surprised to see her still here. When she mentions it was Owen who told her to stay back, he is instantly alarmed. He knows Owen has never treated a woman specially before. He is even allowing Sarin to stay in his room. Yuri is worried he is serious about this girl. He tells Sarin to get changed and go out with him. She refuses and tells him Owen ordered her to stay here. The man doesn't seem bothered by Owen's order, and Sarin is alert. For Yuri to ignore Owen means he must be acting under someone more important. Sarin is very nervous. She knows people must see her as very useless compared to Owen, someone who can't do anything on her own. But she is willing to do anything to protect her brother. But can she maintain that view when the grandfather of the man she loves just pours a glass of wine over her head? Before we get to the disastrous meeting with Owen's grandfather, let's take a few steps back. Sarin is still following the scar-faced man when he leads her into a large room. As soon as she enters, she instantly recognizes the man waiting for her. He might carry a different aura from Owen, but she knows who he is. While the 2 men talk, she is watching and panicking. Yuri has gone over to meet the man while Sarin stands and waits. She can't hear what they are saying, and that makes it worse. She is shocked to see Nikolai slapping Yuri's face. She never knew there was someone who could treat Yuri this way. It is finally Sarin's turn. She tries not to be scared of the man since he shares the same bloodline with Owen, but their meeting just gets more confusing. Because why is she gambling with the old man right now? Yes, that is right. Sarin is currently being forced into a betting game. She tells the man she doesn't know how to play this kind of game, and he says it is unfortunate. Surprisingly, he actually loses everything. He says he isn't good at these kinds of games either. He suddenly compliments Sarin's beauty and asks if she really saved his grandson. Sarin is nervous. She starts shaking as she answers yes. The old man calls Yuri over. Sarin is thinking this is her chance to make sure Hayan is safe. She can't just trust a man like Owen and keep waiting for him. Now is her chance. Nikolai is a confusing man. He grabs her hand and calls her fearless and brave. He says she reminds him of Owen when he first brought him back from Ireland. He suddenly mentions her sick child. He knows the boy doesn't have much time to live and is urgently looking for a liver transplant. Yuri becomes nervous as he remembers Owen's warning not to talk about the test result. Sarin is still naively thinking Nikolai is just a normal grandfather. She wants to talk to him about Hayan's transplant. She has no problem with Hayan's father not wanting to recognize him. All she wants is for her nephew to be safe. Before she can speak, Nikolai suddenly tells her his real thoughts. For him, sick children are completely useless. Sarin is so shocked, she wonders if she developed a hearing problem. How can someone talk about their own grandchildren like that? They are supposed to cherish them. Now she sees the difference between Owen and his grandfather. The 2 might have the same eyes, but Owen has never looked at her so coldly. She mentions his care for his bloodline, but he tells her he only cares about healthy children who will succeed him. He believes healthy children will also strengthen his bloodline and have stronger children too. Sarin is disgusted by the way he thinks. Now she understands why Owen didn't tell him about the test results. She reminds the man it isn't his nephew's fault he is sick. Besides, he is also getting treatment. Nikolai reveals why he called her here. He tells her she has been like a beggar. She came here without anything to her name. They fed her, clothed her, housed her, and even gave money to her and her son. But now she wants to be treated like a human being. He calls Sarin and her child dressed-up monkeys and says there is nothing either of them can say. He will never consider the both of them human beings. Sarin is desperate and says he can still protect them even if he doesn't think they are humans. She says Owen has given her the most important thing. Nikolai suddenly brings a deal to her. If Sarin agrees to leave, he will pay for Hayan's surgery and even give her money to raise him. After all, he is his blood. Sarin doesn't accept his deal. She tells Nikolai Owen has already taken care of all that. If he wants to move her, he has to offer something different. Nikolai is amused and laughs at her. He finds her funny. He feels she should be grateful they are discussing in a bright place because normally her life would be at stake now. He tells her he can give her a lot more money than Owen can since she treasures her son so much. He doesn't understand why his two sons should be fighting at such a young age, especially over such a woman. He wants Sarin to use her judgment if she really treasures Hayan's life. Done with speaking to her, he pours his glass of wine over her head like she is a trash can. It is only then that Sarin comes to her senses. She feels like she has just woken up and only now realizes what is happening. The old man tells her to talk to Yuri when she is ready. He warns her not to keep him waiting for too long. Sarin is a mess. The smell of alcohol is all around her and she starts struggling with her addiction. Everything in her wants her to just taste the alcohol that was just poured on her. She hasn't had this sweet scent in a while. She is just about to give in when someone shows up. Her knight in shining armor. Owen is here. He immediately orders her to spit it out. Owen appears and wants Sarin to spit out the alcohol. She refuses and wonders why he had to come at this time. She is embarrassed at the thought of him hearing just how much his grandfather looks down on her. He didn't even acknowledge her as a human being. She is shocked when he suddenly carries her. He wants her to stop talking, but she refuses. She stubbornly insists she was treated worse than a human being. But she despises herself too. She thinks she is a coward. She couldn't say all these things to Nikolai and is instead taking out her anger on Owen. She is hurt as she wonders why he waited so long to show up and did nothing to help her. He suddenly reminds her he calls her by her name. He never gives or calls a beast by its name. Although she thinks he treats her like a dog, she has never really heard him calling his 3 dogs by any names. They're back to their room. Owen is running a bath for Sarin. He remembers how Nikolai asked him to meet outside the city. Normally, he would never have gone over, but ever since he met Sarin, he lost all his rational judgment. He scolds her for leaving the house even when he warned her not to. She asks if she really had a choice. Now she finally understands where Owen got all his bad habits from. Manipulating people, digging out their secrets and pushing them to their limits. He learnt it all from his grandfather. At that moment, she feels a strong loneliness. She hasn't felt like this a long time, and it is making her desperate to drink again. She is desperate for even one glass just to get rid of this feeling. She sees the wine on the table and heads for it. Owen notices her going in one direction like someone possessed. He immediately stops her. No matter how much she begs, he refuses to let her drink. He says he knows how hard it is to stop. He helps her into the bath and tries to comfort her. When she yells at him asking what he knows, he finally tells her his story. His mother was also addicted, but not only to alcohol, she loved drugs and men too. There were even other things. He explains that is why he understands Sarin. She reminds him her child's condition is getting worse, but he says it is only his current test results. She is aware his grandfather doesn't like them, contrary to what Owen said. She feels like no matter the choice she makes, she just won't be able to see Hayan ever again. He tells Sarin the reason why Nikolai came to look for him back then. He wanted him to donate his liver. He only favors healthy children, and nobody knows this better than Owen. The only thing Nikolai cares about are himself and his children. While his daughter became the First Lady of Russia, his sons disappointed him and led carefree lives. The only good thing they did was the large number of grandchildren they produced for him. All his children seemed to be successful, until Owen's father, the oldest son, suddenly developed a liver disease. They couldn't find the right match in time, and that was why Nikolai came to find him. So he could donate his liver to his father. Thankfully, it was not a match, and Owen's father later died in an accident. Owen reveals he never told Sarin because he didn't think it was necessary. Sarin is surprised. It seems that is all she has been today. Surprised. Owen doesn't want her to worry about Hayan anymore. With that conversation out of the way, Sarin is now feeling some sort of way. She has no idea why, but she feels drunk and restless. She wants to scream, but she thinks it is embarrassing. It seems Owen is feeling the same way because he bites her ear. She screams and wonders why he did it. Her mind is going somewhere dirty, but he just stares at her and asks what she is doing. She denies. He wants her to soak some more so the smell of alcohol washes away. He has got her hot and bothered and now wants to leave? Sarin isn't happy. She asks why he bit her ear then, and he says he thought anything else would be too much. She is wondering when he started to be considerate. He suddenly smiles and asks Irin what more she was expecting. Sarin is shocked when she hears those words from Owen. She starts to wonder if she is really expecting more. She tries to refuse, but Owen points out she isn't resisting him. Sarin might want him, but she is afraid. She can't forget the words his grandfather said and is scared Owen will also see her that way. But that doesn't change her feelings for him. She sees he is about to go further and speaks up to stop him. He wants to know what she wants, but she is too shy. After he keeps pushing her, she finally says her feelings. The two are out of the shower and Owen is busy drying her hair. She still can't believe what she just said to him. Why does she keep saying these things she doesn't mean? It happens every time she is with him. She has to focus. But she never ended up focusing. Why? Because like a male enchanter, Owen immediately shows off his charms and the two start getting intimate. Sarin has no idea why spending time with Owen drives away all her negative thoughts. Owen too can't understand why even when he has Sarin in front of him like this, he still feels nervous. Like he is going to lose her. And so he goes wild on her. The two become more passionate and it seems like their love produces a fruit. #baby coming soon. Sarin recalls her past. It was so difficult for them to bathe during winter. It took a long time to warm up the cold water with her small stove. During these hard times, she would wonder how long she had to keep living like this. She wished someone could wash her while she slept. Well, her wishes did come through. Everything has changed now. When she wakes up, she looks for the man that changed her whole life. Owen. But he is gone. After dressing up, she heads outside where she greets her 3 friends. It doesn't matter that those friends are dogs, right? She remembers Owen saying he doesn't give names to beasts. Well, she isn't like that, and so decides to give the dogs names. I would rather she didn't. What the heck is Yellowy, Bluey, and Pinky? Poor dogs. She notices something is missing from the room. It is the alcohol. She feels it is very sweet how quickly Owen moves. The sweet feeling doesn't last long as someone she really doesn't want to see shows up. Yuri is here. He notices Sarin is uncomfortable and says she shouldn't be. But how is that possible? She is nervous. She is worried she still smells like alcohol and is even more worried now that she knows someone like Yuri is working for Owen. The man says he has a duty to report everything back to Owen and the boss. He wouldn't do anything to Sarin, but he wants her to listen to Nikolai. He informs her that Owen didn't hear anything that happened yesterday. He only came when Nikolai was leaving, and he doesn't want her to tell him about what happened. Sarin isn't ready to talk about that. She knows the men are worried about her relationship with Owen. And even though Owen has promised to give her everything, she can't just believe him. And so she denies their connection in front of Yuri. She has no relationship with Owen. Yuri warns her to keep it that way. Now that he is sure nothing is going on between the two, he becomes more friendly. He tells her Owen says she is allowed to visit her kid. She wants to know if she can also take the dogs on a walk too. The animals are happy to hear this while Yuri is disgusted by them. Yuri is also a bit scared, but B believes in their increased security. Plus, he doesn't believe Nikolai is the type to hurt a woman before she can give her answer. And so he agrees to Sarin going on a walk. Except, we are not sure who is walking whom, because it seems at this moment Sarin is being taken on a walk by the dogs. No, it is more like a race. Even the servants have to get out of their way. Meanwhile, Sarin is running so hard she can barely breathe. She begs the dogs to stop, but they seem to have a mind of their own. They keep going in one direction. Sarin is confused and has no idea why they are acting like this. Well, that is until she hears a voice. A woman is busy harassing a machine. She keeps complaining and hitting it, not listening to the man begging her to stop. Sarin is surprised to see Gaon here. The woman is also happy and says she came here to see her. Meanwhile, Owen is busy listening and waiting for his brother to finish his intimate time. Voyeur. Pavle is surprised to see his brother in his apartment when he comes out. He sends his woman away and walks up to Owen. Before he can sit, Owen suddenly kicks him away violently. Pavle doesn't understand why his brother is doing this. He thought they were over. After all, his bandaged hand with the missing finger is proof of that. But what did he expect when he crossed someone like Owen? The man has only begun his punishment. Owen is like a demon as he smiles and tells his brother it isn't over yet. Pavle threatens him with Sarin. If he does anything to him here, Sarin will never be safe. Owen finds it amusing how Pavle acts. He is already this old and still expects his grandfather to clean up his mess. Pavle mocks Owen and says he is also the same. He hasn't finished that statement when Owen uses his shoe to lift Pavle's face. He is simply treating him like a dog. He wants to hear what his half-brother will say, but like a weakling, Pavle chickens out. Owen steps on his mouth with his shoe. Pavle doesn't understand. He doesn't think Sarin and her son are worth Owen being mad at him. He reminds Owen they are brothers born from the same womb. Owen doesn't want to hear that fake story from Pavle. They have never considered themselves brothers. Pavle keeps trying to threaten Owen with Sarin, but look at his four fingers shaking. He is nervous. Owen doesn't think it is Pavle's business. He really believes Pavle should have killed him back then. Pavle isn't concerned with Owen's life or death. He even wishes Owen was dead. Then he could take over Eden. But as long as Nikolai is there for him, it doesn't matter if Owen is alive or not. There will always be a way out for Pavle. Although Pavle tries to deny his part in harming Owen, he can't escape taking blame. And Owen is here to show him the consequences of his actions. Pavle is terrified as he asks if Owen is talking about that thing. What thing? Someone tell me. Owen might even feel a little pity for Pavle. If only he had stayed quiet. Instead, he insisted on biting off more than he can chew. He asks Pavle if Nikolai will still keep him safe if he tells him what he knows. What do you know? Say it. It seems our male lead has his half-brother's weakness. Pavle can't do anything. Owen warns him to follow his orders if he still wants Nikolai to back him up. Pavle is really angry now. He can't believe Owen is bringing up their past just because of a woman, but no matter how much he curses, he still has to obey Owen. Sarin feels she is doing something wrong. She is on a walk with Hayan, who assures her everything is fine. Their guards must be aware they have entered the city. That's right. The girls are taking a walk into the city. Hayan has heard about her meeting with Nikolai. Sarin wonders how she knew, and she reveals anyone can be bought. Hayan wants to know what he said. Sarin knows Yuri wants her not to talk to anybody, but she wants to at least tell someone who cares about her. She tells Hayan Nikolai wants her to leave if she wants to keep her child safe. Hayan says Nikolai is actually conceding. Sarin is surprised by this. The other woman explains Nikolai is someone who keeps his words. Maybe because of his business, but he does what he says. Especially when it comes to anything that could hurt his bloodline or family. Hayan finds it funny since Nikolai killed all his siblings and even tried to kill all his illegitimate children in the past. Now, he is talking about protecting family. Hayan has told Sarin all she went through after meeting Nikolai, and now our girl is worried. She doesn't know if it will be okay for her or if she should leave. Hayan isn't sure as she doesn't see a reason why Sarin needs to stay here. Sarin tries to convince herself it is because Hayan will receive better treatment here, and they have too many debts back in Korea. But the truth is, she wants to stay because of Owen. She tries to lie to herself that these feelings are just because they have spent too much time together. She is just grateful to him, and that is all. She is really confused and asks Hayan for advice. Hayan reminds her, Hayan's life is safe thanks to Owen. Nikolai has offered to pay for her son's treatment, and he will keep his promise. Sarin declares she wouldn't mind leaving as long as Hayan is safe. Hayan finds Owen to be a dangerous man. A place like Eden, which Nikolai has been struggling to control all his life. Yet Owen took over it in 5 years. Just like Kirill will say, Owen is not a man to mess with. She always thought she would abandon Kirill if she had a chance to take a different path, but she isn't sure. She thinks Sarin might be different, though. She might have the chance to go back to a safe life. After all, she hasn't known Owen for long. In fact, this might be Sarin's last chance to leave. Hayan wants Sarin to think about it. Owen has returned home. He heads to the dressing room to take off his clothes. He suddenly sees a particular drawer closed. Opening it, his eyes go wide in surprise. The passport is still there. Turns out this was just a test. Owen is pleased with the results and makes up his mind to reward Sarin. Sarin, who has no idea she has just been tested, is out of the shower. She is surprised to see Owen waiting outside for her. He tells her to come over. He strangely starts talking about his dog's attachment to her. Sarin isn't listening to him. She has already made her decision to leave, but for some reason, she is now reluctant. The man seems to have a strange desire for squeezing her cheeks. He wants to know what she wants. She points out that he has given her everything already, but he still insists. At this point, Sarin is already shaking. She asks if he is really going to give her anything. He wants to know what she wants, and she asks him to keep her nephew protected no matter what. That is all he needs to do to repay her. Owen isn't satisfied and wants her to ask for more. She has nothing she wants and tells him so. He doesn't take no for an answer. He wants her to think and tell him what she wants. Sarin has made up her mind and knows she shouldn't get closer to him. But when he approaches her, she gives in. She finds him sweet and is greedy for just a little more. Sarin is shocked by her thoughts. Owen doesn't understand why she stopped, and she says it is because he is sweet. She finds everything strange now. But things are about to get even more weird as Owen announces he wants to give up smoking. Since she can give up something, he has to do so too. She doesn't understand why he would suddenly say that. She is still confused when he kisses her eyes. The same eyes she used to hate has become something he treasures a lot. As they say, men will be men, and Owen is already ready to get intimate. Sarin can't understand why he likes it so much. Her hunger saves her, however. He offers her some candy and promises to take her for a dinner date at the best restaurant. Sarin is surprised because this will be their first date outside together. She chooses a candy and just happens to choose the same one Owen chose before. She doesn't understand until she licks it and discovers it tastes just like Owen did. She finds it too delicious. The way she looks right now is too much for Owen, and he laughs. She looks like a cute squirrel. He tells her to get changed but wants to be the one to pick out her clothes. She is startled by his behavior, and she immediately agrees. Poor girl, and as expected, he uses this as an excuse to start getting intimate. Men. After their intimacy, Owen has picked a dress for Sarin. Never mind that it is see-through, he doesn't want her wearing anything underneath. Sarin doesn't understand why she finds it disgraceful and doesn't like it, yet her body still reacts. He helps her put the dress on. He notices her ears aren't pierced, and without any pity, he roughly pierces them. Watching her cry, he feels a dark sense of ownership. From now on, everywhere she goes and when she looks at herself in the mirror, she will always remember him. Every minute and very second, she will always see his face. The man who caused her this brief moment of pain. He is satisfied and wants them to eat while she still has something inside her. What a twisted man. The two head out for dinner. At the last moment, Sarin doesn't want to go anymore. She feels uncomfortable as her chest is all exposed. Owen doesn't seem to feel any pity for her and asks her to leave the elevator. With no choice, Sarin steps out only to discover no one is around. The lights aren't even on. He says he knows she would prefer a place like this. Sarin is surprised by how romantic this dinner is. Their seats are overlooking the view of the city. But no matter how pretty it is, she is very uncomfortable. She is just grateful that no one is here. She hasn't even finished that thought when a female voice startles her. Sarin is afraid the lady will see her. She tries to convince herself she can't, since everywhere is so dark. The lady goes to bring their meal, and Sarin is left alone with Owen. She doesn't know why, but she keeps getting thirsty. She doesn't know if it is because Owen is staring at her, but she is so hot. Anytime she is around him, it feels like she has a fever. She has just finished her third cup of water when he offers her his. She thanks him. Her hands are shaking so much she can't grab the glass. And so it spills all over her dress. Sarin can't believe this. Owen comes over to help her dry it. Sarin can't take this tension between them anymore. She pulls Owen close and tells Owen to do what he really wants. This is the first time she is taking the lead, but she didn't expect the man not to respond. He laughs instead and asks if it is him who wants it or her. Once she has admitted she also wants it, he finally takes action. She is a bit reluctant to get intimate in public, but he promises no one will disturb them. She has no idea why, but ever since she met Owen, she has been completely swept up by him. Sometimes all of this simply feels like an illusion. After a night of passion, Sarin might not notice it, but her feelings towards Owen have changed. Now she wants him to treat her gently, care for her like a man would. And he doesn't disappoint. When she is too sleepy to eat, he gently places her on his lap and feeds her. He is so gentle that Sarin thinks this is all a dream. Owen laughs at how innocent she is. When our female lead finally wakes up, it is to Owen sleeping next to her. She is surprised because he would usually be gone when she wakes up. She wonders if she should wake him up. She is also confused. She might have wanted Owen to take care of her and carry her to his room, but it feels strange when he actually does it. She sees the plates on the table and can finally confirm that last night wasn't a dream. This man basically washed, clothed, and fed her last night. Sarin is still in shock when someone grabs her waist. Owen is awake and greets her with a good morning. He even rubs her ears gently and asks if they still hurt. Sarin reminds him he just recently pierced them. She is uncomfortable and moves away from him. He pretends to be sad and rolls out of bed. He asks why she doesn't want to touch him, and she replies that she is not used to sharing a bed with someone. He reminds her of how soundly she slept last night, though. Sarin has no excuse and is afraid he might think she was only using him. She explains she was tired. After all, it isn't her fault. She is always exhausted after they get intimate. She says she wants to get dressed and runs away from him. Owen doesn't know what is wrong with him. He feels like he is falling into an abyss. It is a very uncomfortable feeling. He heads outside with his 3 guard dogs where Yuri comes to meet him. The man is surprised to see Owen looking so unprepared. Normally, he is always well-dressed. This is the first time he is seeing him look so relaxed. He tells Owen his first loyalty is to the boss. Owen reminds him even animals would know how to show gratitude, so humans shouldn't be different. Yuri says that is why he hasn't done anything against Owen. He tells Owen Pavle has been trying to enter Hayan's room. Owen isn't surprised. He knew that was Nikolai's plan when he put Hayan in that hospital. He is just trying to get rid of 2 birds with 1 stone. He tells Yuri this is the perfect time to repay Nikolai's gratitude. He should know who to bet on. Yuri can't deny the power of blood. The same energy he used to feel in Nikolai, he now feels it in Owen. He has grown so much that now nobody would be able to stop him. He finally agrees to work for Owen. Sarin has no idea what is happening and walks in. She is surprised Owen is still around and he says they need to have breakfast. He wants to visit Hayan with her today. Sarin is shocked by this statement, but Owen just rubs her head. He wants her to officially introduce her child to him. Sarin is panicking as she wonders what he means by that. What is he planning? She also finds it alarming since she is getting too used to his touch. Just like Owen said, she slept so comfortably even though she wasn't supposed to be used to sharing a bed with someone else. She really needs to focus. She turns around only to realize she has been left alone with Yuri. She immediately panics and says she doesn't need to eat breakfast. She just wants to run away. Sarin's feelings have gotten out of control. When she woke up to Owen sleeping beside her, she was first shocked and then relieved. Just being in his arms gave her a sense of comfort. And then she became greedy. She wanted more from him. That scared her, and that was why she turned away from him. No matter how she tells herself she shouldn't feel comfortable around him, just being near him brings her peace. From the beginning of their relationship, they had already drawn a line between those feelings. Their relationship was supposed to be only a physical one. A relationship just to settle his needs, but now Owen keeps trying to cross those lines. At first, because she felt Owen had started to look like a threat towards her, she didn't want him anymore. But somehow that feeling changed and she no longer wants to lose this arrogant man. If he sees her looking troubled, he starts to worry. So now she has to make herself look calm and act like she is doing fine. She can't even count the number of times she has to pretend to be fine when she is around him. At this point, her child seems like more of an adult than she is. She admits to Owen she is nervous. She doesn't know how to face Hayan now. Owen reminds her the death of her sister was an incident. It was something they couldn't prevent, and he hopes the both of them would be able to accept it that way one day. He helps her wipe her sweaty hands and wants her to stay positive. At least, Hayan is now being treated at a better place. Sarin thanks him for this. It is time for them to meet, and Sarin convinces herself to smile brightly. She enters the ward and happily announces she is here. Out of nervousness, she doesn't even look at Hayan as she explains she wanted to come earlier. She doesn't finish her words because she hears someone else's voice. Surprised, she opens her eyes and is shocked to see Pavle there. And not only that, but Hayan is crying. He tries to come to her, but Pavle holds him back. Mama Bear Sarin is back, and she immediately yells at Pavle and grabs her nephew. Pavle insists she is overreacting. After all, Hayan is his son, and he just came to see him. The nurse is also in tears as she explains to Sarin. Pavle said he was the father of the child, and seeing how similar they looked, she let him in. He asked her to interpret what he was saying, but she had to stop because he kept saying horrible things. He even threatened to keep pursuing the nurse if she didn't comply with him. Sarin is in shock and is about to yell at Pavle. He asks why she is yelling and says she brought Hayan here so he could meet his father. The man is talking, but Sarin is staring at the dangerous beast behind him. Pavle doesn't notice and so cannot resist when he is grabbed by the head and pressed down to the floor. Owen reminds him he might be Hayan's father, but that doesn't mean he can act anyhow he wants. He warns Pavle to behave. Sarin is surprised by Owen's behavior while Hayan is just confused as to why he has two fathers. Sarin is worried Pavle might have done something towards Hayan. The man quickly explains it was his grandfather who sent him here. Of course, he is just trying to save himself because Owen keeps glaring at him with that scary face. Sarin says she would never leave her nephew in his care, and he yells at her, asking who she is to determine that. Owen tells him to explain the situation better. Pavle isn't willing and calls Sarin names, saying she should know better. He reminds Owen he isn't the only one capable of blackmailing people. If he is going to fall, he is also going to take someone with him. Owen isn't intimidated by him at all and even reminds him to know his position once he is done with his act. Pavle starts sweating nervously. He announces one more thing Nikolai asked him to do, and that is to give the child part of his liver. Sarin is surprised to hear this, but Pavle throws in a condition. The decision is up to him to make, and so they should know what that means. Pavle gives Sarin a threat. She has been raising his child for so long, but now he is determined to take him back and raise him himself. Sarin is not bothered by Pavle's words. Instead, she is afraid he hurt the kid. But what Pavle did was worse. He directly told Hayan that he was going to die. Sarin tries to comfort the child, but Hayan has already made up his mind. If he does, he can go and see his mommy in heaven. Sarin is angry at Pavle. She never wanted to let Hayan know about his condition, but this Pavle just had to come here and stir up trouble. Thankfully, Owen got him to leave with a few words. She doesn't know what Pavle has told the poor child, but she promises him he still has a chance to live. She announces that she has made a lot of money and will use it to treat him. The child doesn't believe her. Before he can say anything, he notices his father is back. Well, his second father? Sarin knows the poor boy is still confused. He thinks Owen is like his father and hides behind Sarin, shaking nervously. Sarin has to reassure him not to be afraid of Owen. She tells him Owen is his uncle. Hayan is still confused because the two men really look alike. He greets Owen, but our dear male lead is more concerned about how Sarin introduced him to the child. She doesn't understand and says she introduced him to Hayan as his uncle. Owen doesn't say anything more. He just sits there and eats candy. Hayan is surprised to see an adult eating candy and tells Sarin, "What do you mean, child? Can't we also want some candy?" Sarin gets the nurse to leave. She starts trying to explain to Hayan that it is normal for an adult to eat candy. Owen cuts her off when he brings out a lot of them and puts it on the bed, making Hayan happy. With Sarin's permission, he immediately picks the strawberry candy. Owen notices his choice and tells Sarin she might have only started raising Hayan after her sister died, but the boy has already developed her taste. Of course, Sarin knows what he is talking about. Her face changes so quickly, even Hayan is worried she might have fallen sick. How can she explain this to a child? She just gives him his candy. Owen is proud of himself. The memories of yesterday have yet to leave his mind, and he wants to make sure he is not the only one still thinking about it. He wants her head to be filled with those memories. Sarin doesn't have time for this always horny man. She's more worried about what Pavle told Hayan. Hayan doesn't say anything, only asks if his father is a bad person. He is sure Pavle doesn't like him. Sarin cannot break the child's heart by telling him the truth, so she lies and says Pavle just hasn't gotten to know Hayan better. But she knows her nephew is a smart kid. He must have noticed that the father he has always wanted to meet doesn't want him. He must have been very afraid when he heard what Pavle said. The child is sad that Sarin lied to him, but she promises to cure him no matter what it takes. Just looking at him, she can tell he is getting worse. It seems Nikolai was telling the truth. Sarin doesn't know what to do because it seems there isn't much time left. But Sarin has made up her mind. She tells Hayan that she is going to bring his father back. She promises the child that he will be cured after that. Sarin never wanted to make a decision, but she has to keep her promise to her nephew. So now she is ready to follow Nikolai's instructions. Owen has no idea his woman has already made up her mind to leave him. He is concerned about Hayan and wants to take him away. There is a greenhouse at the top of the hospital that he thinks will distract the child. As expected, the child is happy to go out. Before he leaves, he and Owen exchange a look. Once again, Sarin is touched by this man. He seems to have noticed her emotions had changed. She asks how he knew. He tells her it is because he is always looking at her. Sarin is just thankful. If not, she would have shown her tired side to Hayan. She notices another problem. Owen said he didn't know Korean, so how could he know she was tired? He tells her he doesn't need to know it, just knowing her is enough. Sarin starts blushing. This man doesn't seem to be joking. Before she can ask him to leave, he suddenly grabs her and kisses her. He tells her he can go out right now and split Pavle's stomach into half if she wants that. He will do anything to remove that sad look from her face. Sarin says she is going to see the doctor, but really, she just wants to get away from Owen. Seeing him so gentle feels dangerous. Before, she had wanted to rely on him, believing in his sweet words and asking him for so many things. It must be the effect of Eden. Common sense really doesn't work here. Sarin knows she is getting too deep into it. If she doesn't control herself, she will just end up completely trapped by Owen. Sarin still can't forget Owen's words about splitting Pavle in half. Not a bad deal if you ask me. She felt uncomfortable when he said that, and that is why she left. Suddenly, she feels that normal reasoning and morals wouldn't work on people like the brothers. They are mafia girl, what did you expect? Rainbows? Sarin has gotten to the doctor's office only to hear him talking to someone. He says the patient's liver has stopped working properly. According to the test, the damages had spread so far, which means things would soon become complicated. Just hearing this, and Sarin knows he is talking about Hayan. She rushes in, asking about a transplant. She doesn't notice the man sitting there until he speaks, finally realizing why Nikolai asked him to come here and take responsibility for a child he didn't even know existed. Sarin is disgusted to see Pavle there. He wonders why she is surprised since he is the boy's father, meaning he is Hayan's legal guardian. Before she can scold him, he tells her some unfortunate news. She is never going to find a donor. Sarin is shocked by this new information, and Pavle explains. Just like way back when Owen was kept alive living with the dogs, it was in case his father needed a liver transplant. No matter how hard they try, finding a liver donor suitable for their family members is difficult. Sarin isn't too worried about it. After avoiding Pavle's touch, she tells him to get tested. After all, this is what Nikolai promised her. Pavle finds Sarin very funny. That might be what Nikolai promised her. But what does it have to do with him? Sarin tries to insist she already has an agreement with his grandfather, but Pavle shuts her up. He reminds her she is a beggar now asking for his help. She has no right to have an attitude. He reminds her he is Pavle's father. There would be no donor more suitable than him. Pushing Sarin into a corner, all Pavle wants to do now is to kill this woman. But he knows if he does, he would get into a fight with Owen, bringing him more trouble from Nikolai. As a coward who is afraid of the strong, he decides to wait for now. Sarin has learnt her lesson and nervously asks Pavle what she should do. He likes the way she talks. This is how he wants her to beg him. He tells her he hates getting sick and doesn't like to be betrayed. Besides, he is not the one in a rush. If Sarin keeps acting stubborn, then that child will soon die. Sarin is really disgusted by him. That is his own son. She doesn't need his liver anymore. She wants to have nothing to do with him. She just wants to find Nikolai. She is sure they can keep Hayan safe. Pavle doesn't let her go and keeps mocking. He believes that without his help, the boy would not be able to hold on. If they ever want to treat Hayan in a hospital, their best choice would be him. He tells Sarin he has a request for her. Sarin is moved by his words. She previously wanted to believe Owen, but Nikolai must have sent Pavle here for a reason. And so she wants to know what Pavle wants. He says it is not a big deal. All she needs to do is this small thing, then he would consider being Hayan's donor. She just has to give him one of Owen's fingers. This sick man. Sarin is shocked. Pavle tells her to calm down. He isn't asking for Owen's life. She is too weak to do that. All he needs is just one of his fingers. Of course, he knows Sarin is desperate, and a desperate person will grab onto any rope available. That is what he was doing to Sarin, waving a rope in front of her. The fact that he is Hayan's biological father. He promises to get tested if Sarin agrees to his request. And when she does bring back Owen's finger, he is going to do the transplant. Sarin refuses to do that. Pavle mocks her for giving up because of her feelings after coming this far just to save her child. He tells her she should have just let Owen die at the bottom of the river if she wasn't going to use him. Those words remind Sarin. Owen knows how to swim. He is someone without a visible weakness. Now she is sure that even if she didn't jump in after him that day, nothing would have happened to Owen. He would have come out when the time was right. So it wasn't Owen who was dragged out of the water, but her. Everyone seems to believe that Owen's weakness is swimming, but what if that is just what he wants them to believe? Pavle has no idea what she is thinking of. Seeing her ignoring him, he pushes her against the wall. Before he can do anything else, Yuri appears to separate them. Pavle has made up his mind. If Sarin doesn't get Owen's finger for her, then he would let her go crazy worrying about her son. Maybe then she will be more obedient. He leaves while promising to see Sarin again. Sarin had never thought of forcing Pavle to have a connection with Hayan just because he is his father. But she can never forgive him for speaking nastily to a child who had suffered all his whole life. That child had always lived his life near death, but never for once did he fear. And yet that child who had gone through so much cried in front of her just because he wanted to see his father. She wonders if Pavle would change if he knew just how Hayan felt about him. Sarin looks up and is stunned by what she sees. This place feels so peaceful and warm, and it all becomes better when she sees Owen and Hayan together. The three seem to be talking about something serious. Sarin isn't worried because Hayan doesn't look scared, just a bit concerned. Remembering Pavle's demand, she once again calls him crazy. She is not a fool. She knows if she gives in this time, there will be a next time. And it would be the beginning of the worst. It would be impossible for her to get out of his trap. The three people have seen her and waver over. She can't hear what they are saying, but they seem to be talking happily. They are even laughing. Sarin wonders what they are talking about. She doesn't care. She is just happy to see Hayan smiling so brightly. She waves at them back, but before she can go over, a Grim Reaper appears. Well, not that Grim Reaper, but Yuri right now seems like one. He has come to remind Sarin that her time is almost up. The boss is waiting for her response. Sarin can't understand how they can expect her response after she has heard Pavle's demands. Yuri tells her they are just trying to scare her. If she keeps on being determined, the child is going to be safe. Sarin has seen a loophole in all this. Nikolai cherishes his grandson so much. Would he really allow him to donate part of his liver? Yuri is speechless because he knows Sarin has seen through them. Nikolai values Pavle so much. Thinking he would force him to donate part of his liver sounds too good to be true. He reminds Sarin, though, no matter what happens, whether the child has to be out on life support or given a transplant, she would need money to do everything. Sarin says she will, and Yuri advises her to play it safe for now, at least while the child waits for a transplant. Sarin is moved. There are a lot of things she never provided for Hayan. They only made it this far because someone helped them. So why is she hesitant to leave Owen if there is a chance it could make Hayan better? Enjoyed this? Then please like, share, and subscribe for more. Until next time, ciao.